Hi, wee friends. It's Miss Chris. I am so excited to be back and to be able to share this time with you again. And as we start our wee time together, let's bring ourselves to a real cozy space. Something um, that I like to do is just kind of stop and I take a deep breath and just tell myself, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to be with my family, and I'm ready to learn about some new Bible stories. So, as we are getting ready for our we time together, I'm going to bring out my little candle and light this because this is a reminder of the love and presence that God and Jesus bring to us every day. So I'm going to put this kind of right in front of me. You might be able to see it flicker for a little bit, but we'll make sure that we see it together at the end to turn it off. And I would love for us to be reminded of a very important word today, and that is prepare. There's lots of ways to remember that word. For instance, to prepare a meal, that would mean that you're cooking the food and you would need the supplies for the food. You would need all the ingredients and the cooking tools. Um, Sometimes you have to prepare yourself to get ready for school, wherever that may be. School in our house is our house. So the way we prepare is by making sure we do, the eating breakfast, brushing the teeth, getting ready. But then it's also like plugging in your computer, making sure your supplies are out, finding a space. So the word prepare could be used in lots of different ways. Um, Today we're going to listen to a story from the Bible, and it is from the New Testament from Matthew. And in this story that we are going to listen to today, it talks about how people prepare themselves for the Lord. Um, and there's a real special meaning about the story that we're going to listen to, and it's about a wedding. And raise your hand or think out loud or say, this was me. Raise your hand if you've ever been in a wedding or at a wedding before. I've been to so many and I love going to weddings. And this Bible verse that we're going to hear today talks about a wedding, but it happened a very long time ago and it's different from the wedding that we think of today. So, as we listen to this story and we think about the word prepare, I want you to ask yourself as you're listening, how do I prepare? How did that word make sense in our story? So, let's take a listen. Jewish weddings in the first century often took place at the end of a harvest time. It was a big gathering of people, and there was usually lots of food and drink, and music and dancing, and guests wore really special clothes. The bride and her close friends would wait at her family home until the groom came and got her to take her to the place that would be their home. No one but the groom's father knew the exact time that the groom would come. The bridesmaids had to plan ahead and be ready with their lamps whenever the bridegroom finally came, because sometimes it would take a very, very long time and it would be way late into the evening. When the groom arrived at the bride's house, he would ask to see her. And when she came out, she would lift her veil and proclaim his joy at seeing her. This joyful beginning would follow the whole wedding procession through the streets of the town that they're in and on to their big feast after the wedding. The lamps most commonly used in the first century were small, mainly like the size of your hand. Lamps were made from clay and were like shallow covered dishes with two holes on the top. So they would pour olive oil through the larger holes, and a wick was placed in the smaller hole. Special care was taken to keep the wick trimmed. So if it burns down too low, then smoke would finally go out and the lamp wouldn't work anymore. So one of the five girls today in this story, I'm sorry, five of the girls today in our story did not plan ahead for the wedding. They should have known that it might have taken a while for the bridegroom to come to the house. This was the normal wedding procedure at the time. So some of the girls had come very prepared. They brought extra jars of oil with them, and they were ready for the groom's arrival. So the five girls who did not come prepared had to go and find oil while the rest of the wedding party proceeded to the big feast. Once the feast began, the groom's family closed and locked the gate. Probably it was to keep out like strangers and uninvited guests, but they got there because they weren't prepared and they had to go get more oil. They missed the party. So they weren't allowed to come in for the big feast. That made the bridesmaids so very sad. And they were trying to open the door and they say, Lord, Lord, open the door for us. But then when he replied, he said, truly, I tell you, I don't know you. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour. So, what did you think of that story? I feel like I learned a lot from that because the word prepare meant a few things in this in this reading, and I feel like the bridesmaids, some of them were prepared because they knew that the wedding was going to take a long time and they were going to be walking into the nighttime and they needed their lamps filled with oil. Some of the bridesmaids, were they prepared? No, they didn't even think about it. And then they missed the big celebration at the end. The other way I think the word prepare was really, really, really like meaningful to me at the very end is when we heard the last line. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour. And you could think to yourself, well, what does that mean? Um, and in this story, what that means is you need to be prepared, not for just a wedding, but for the Lord, because you don't know when He's going to come. So we always have to be ready and we always need to be prepared. I know in this day and age, we have to be prepared a lot more than we remembered before. Like now, if I'm ready to like get in the car to go somewhere to, go to the grocery store or have to pick up supplies for school. Um, I have to be prepared and remember quite a few more things now. Like I have to remember hand sanitizer and a mask for me and a mask for Ellis and Nora and bringing our own extra things in case we need it. Um, So the way that we have to be prepared for everyday things has changed a little bit. And that's okay because it helps us remember the more and more we remember these things, we're always prepared. So now I don't forget about those things anymore. And so just like we have to be prepared or use the word prepare ourselves for the Lord, to me that means being open and honest and ready and filling the world with love because we need that more than ever. So if we can show that to ourselves and we can show that to others, it's just a beautiful thing to make ourselves be ready and be prepared. So I hope that you can find ways that you could be prepared. Here's what I would love for you to try at home with a family. Now that we go to church a little differently and we are doing it on a screen and not at a building, I want to know ways that you prepare yourself to be ready for church because that's a way that we all prepare ourselves for the Lord is by being together for church. So I would love for you to spend time with your family at home and think about, well, what are ways that you prepare yourself and what are ways that you get ready? Could it be something as simple as like, well, we all sit together or we all like to take a time and say a prayer together before we start worship? Or we do it at our own time now because we can have the time and space to do it on different days or times. Um, there's ways that you can do that that are different than I'm telling you. So I would love to know some ways that you prepare as a family to have church because I know it's not the way that we see it or we used to see it, but to me, sometimes it doesn't matter about the space that you are in it. It matters that you're in it, and it could be anywhere. So that's why we always want to be prepared. So, friends, as we end our time together, I would love for us to say a prayer. So I am going to use my hands like this. I'm going to pray like this today. I wonder how you're going to pick your way to pray. So as we bow our heads, I'd like you to repeat after me. Dear Lord, prepare my heart for the coming of your Son today and every day. Amen. Friends, my heart is full, and I am so happy to be with you guys again. And I look forward to spending more time with you on our we time together. Take care.